Hey guys, what is going on? Today is a video that I'm not too thrilled about, but because it's going to be going over all of the pricing of my second van build, my newest van that I'm sitting in right now, Ghost 2, or I still call it Ghost. I got my coffee here, my tablet that I've written everything down on. We're gonna go over a lot of information. I have no idea how long this video is gonna be. I'm hoping to keep it as short as possible, but I'm also trying to get as much information out to everybody out there. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to this one. There's gonna be some big numbers here. At least it'll be some really good information for all of you out there. With all that being said, let's get started. Here we go. Alright guys, if you guys are new to my page, consider subscribing. What I do here is I live full-time in this van that I call Ghost. It is my second van that I have done. I lived in my first one for 2 years. I loved it so much, I decided to sell it and build my dream van, which I am in now. I have a degree in architectural engineering, and I've spent the last 10 years in the entertainment field, improv, comedy, acting, and that sort of thing. So I started actually consulting on my website, JarrodTocci.com, if you're interested in possible van life build scenarios, designs, phone consultations, all that stuff, whatever, that's all on my website. But what I'm actually offering now through the Reachable app, they're super cool and it's super easy to work with. I have 3 different packages, and I'll put the link in the description below. You have a one-on-one conversation with me if you don't want a phone consultation. You might have some questions throughout the months that you're doing your build, or maybe that 1 month that you're doing a build, but usually a build will take you between 3 to 6 months, maybe even a year. So it's nice to kind of keep up the texting conversations with me all through the Reachable app. It's just an easy way to contact somebody like myself that can give some good insight on maybe products, layouts, something along those lines. So check out the Reachable app. Link will be in the description below. Okay, now that all that's out of the way, let's get into really what this video is about and what you guys all probably tuned into this video for. I'm not sponsored by these guys whatsoever. I actually bought this when I finished my first van. It's called the Remarkable Tablet. It's very thin. I just really like it. I use it all the time. You can write on it. It's your own handwriting. You can download it as a PDF and send it to your devices, your computer or your phone. It's really cool. It's really nifty. It's also expensive as all heck. I'm in a fancy van, and we're gonna go over all those expenses right now. Before I even get into this, I do wanna say a couple things, a couple disclaimers. This is my second van build. First van build was on a budget. I lived in it for 2 years. I loved it so much, I decided to one-up myself and really build and design a van that I am super duper comfortable in. Listen, I could have lived another 5 years in my first van, but I see this as a very long-term living scenario for myself. Plus it's 4-season ready, and also it's 100% electric. There's no propane in here at all. I did spend a little bit extra money for those kind of amenities. Throughout this video, I hope to give suggestions on certain aspects that could maybe save you money. I am going to be doing a video of my first van compared to my second van. It's literally going to be old footage and new footage of my 2 van builds. It's going to be an epic video because it'll be showing what I did on the first van, what I did on the second van, and maybe if I ever do a third, what I would do differently, even on a Ghost 3. I don't see that happening. The Ghost 3 really terrifies me. The most expensive things in this van, things that you cannot see. I will also throw out a couple disclaimers that I'm not sponsored by anybody in here. I do have friends in certain areas. I did get discounts on certain things, so some of the numbers I have are estimates. And I will say, this is an estimate. You have to contact them to get an actual price, but they are my friends. I've known them for a long time. Compared to other companies that I know out there that have certain products, the ones that my friends have, I think that they are the best of the best. Not only because I think they're wholesome people, but I also believe that I've done my research. I just know that their products are really good. Also guys, if you guys hear rain, it's raining out where I am right now, so there might be some Tic Tacs on the roof, but it's super soothing, just letting you know. All right, so the very first thing that I'm gonna get into is biggest expense. We're gonna start high and we're just gonna go throughout everything here. The solar kit, or the solar box, and the solar panel actually. The solar kit itself was designed and built by Tiny Watt Solar. A lot of people are really upset that they go on the Tiny Watt Solar website and they don't see pricing. So Tiny Watt Solar doesn't have any pricing on their website, and there's many reasons for this, but they just don't do it. Guys, you have to understand that these products aren't cheap. All right, so this is, like I said, this is the biggest one. So the entire kit was designed and built by them. I have a custom kit They do have on their website, if you look at it, they have what they call a full send model and a half send model. The half send is just a smaller, obviously half, and then full is like the full kit and caboodle. But I have a customized full send. Every box is pretty much dimensionally made the same. If you contact them and you want something more custom that fits your layout, you can, but you're just gonna have to pay an extra price for it. With all that being said, the kit I estimated around $16,000. Problem with that is a lot of you might be like, oh my God, $16,000. What are you, crazy? Yes, number one, I am. I have 4 lithium batteries in this thing. I have a 3200 watt inverter. I have a DC to DC charger, which charges my battery bank from my van alternator. I don't even know how, I think 12 breakers. I have shunts. I have wires up the wazoo. Guys, I have a time lapse on this entire thing that they did. It is not easy. It took them 2 full days with 2 people working on it, and they were rushing. It typically takes them 4, possibly 5 days, and that's including the build of the frame. Actually, now that I say that, the frame took a solid day, plus them wiring, so it was 3 days of them rushing this. This is not easy to do. I can promise you that. So really, if you wanted to build this yourself, the metal framing of it alone, yeah, you could build it out of plywood, sure. But the metal frame, or even if you were to use aluminum, that's expensive. Welding it, not cheap. Each battery, I have 4 lithiums from Relion, is $1,000 each. By the way, I do offer a Relion discount code. I will put it in the description below, but it's also Ghost 5. I think they're the best batteries on the market, lithium-wise, and they offer warranty, so check that out. But anyways, the inverter is not cheap. All right, and I'm also a big advocate of you get what you pay for. If you want to get a $500 inverter, go get a $500 inverter. I've seen inverters burn. I've seen them explode. Yes, I've seen them with my own 2 eyes. They're not pretty. They can cause fires. I wanted to make sure that my solar kit was built by a professional with professional products that he stood behind. Wes has a degree in renewable energy. He is very connected throughout the entire renewable energy field, so I felt that he knew the best products there was. So I was willing to pay top dollar for that, which I did. They don't make a killing on that 16K. Again, estimate. Enough about the frickin' solar kit. The panel is a walkable solar deck. Yes, Wes was very kind and he gave me that panel for free, but the panel typically goes, I think, for $4,000 to $5,000. It was a very generous gift of him, I will say that. He did mention that in the video I did with him. He said that he cut it off his roof and gave it to me. Again, it was very nice of him because it is a commercial grade. It is meant for fields, like large solar array fields. They're not meant to be put on vans by other, like some of the other companies out there. Can you get a smaller panel? Yeah. Can you get a 100 watt panel from such and such company? Absolutely. Is it going to have the same amount of output? No. They're just different. I can't really explain that. You'd have to talk to an actual solar professional for that, but I can tell you that this panel is amazing. I can also throw out a couple other names. I'll put links below for a couple other companies out there that sell commercial grade, because you can't get commercial unless you're a wholesaler and you have to buy in bulk typically. But I will give you guys a link below on who you can also talk to for that. That's Light Harvest Solar if you want to do it yourself. If you want somebody professionally install it, I would go to Tiny Watt Solar. Just right off the bat, we're looking at $21,000 just the solar. We haven't even started the construction portion of it yet. Holy crap, that's more than most people's builds. That was more than my last build, and then some. We're just getting started. The next biggest thing that you cannot see is my radiant floor heating. I don't know how much trouble I'm gonna get in for this, but I figured let's be as transparent as can be. Prices are subject to change, but again, this is an estimate because I'm not technically allowed to say what the price is. Price of the entire kit, I'm gonna round up, $9,000. I think it's $8,950. $9,000. Cost of install is $4,000. You guys might again be like mind blown, like what the hell? I cannot believe you just spent 14 grand on radiant floor heating. Why would you ever do that? Okay, let me clarify some things here. This is not just radiant floor heating. It is also it's a 2-stage heating system. I've gone over this in other videos. Actual liquid in the floors. It's antifreeze. It's in my floors, in piped tubes in the floor, and it radiates the air. It is also a hot water system. The second stage of the heat is forced air for those really, really cold winters. I know this system was in the polar vortex back in 2018. It was 40 below, and not this van particularly. The system was in a different van, and it was completely comfortable. From what I was told by the people that were in that van 30 or 40 below, whatever it was, and that was at nighttime. I personally have had this van in Banff, Canada, 18 degrees, maybe 15 at night, whatever it was. I had it up at 6,000 feet elevation. My friend and I were completely, totally fine at 72 degrees. It was beautiful. It was cozy. I don't know what else to say about it. It was worth every single cent that I paid on this thing. Everybody that's been in my van loves it. Everybody that comes into my van feels the floor to see how hot it is, which I think is hilarious. I cannot say enough good things about it. If you compare it to other systems, there's another system called the Rixon. It's a heater and hot water. Price comparison is right there, but Rixon doesn't offer the floor heating aspect of it. Those are the only two that I think are on the market, the Van Life Tech radiant floor heating, and I think the Rixon, but again, the Rixon is just a forced air and hot water. Van Life Tech is radiant floor heating, hot water, forced air, amazing. So other options on the heater itself, like I know people are like, oh my God, 14 grand is just super, super crazy for radiant floor heating, or the Rixon, like I said, is very comparable. The Webasto heater is probably the best one that I'm going to advise for the lowest amount of money. You could go Mr. Buddy, but again, that's propane, so that's up to you. Mr. Buddy heaters are great. I had it in my last van. You just have to make sure you vent so you don't kill yourself, and also have a propane detector and a CO2 detector. Keep all that in mind. But the Webasto heater or the S-Bar heater, they're pretty much the same thing. I would also advise get the high altitude kit, because I believe that the regular kit, the altitude shuts off around 2,000 feet. I'm not 100% sure on that. The Webasto or the S-Bar high altitude, I believe, is right around 1,700. That's a DIY kit. You can install that. You just have to tap your gas tank. It's actually not that difficult. Just expect a 1 to 3 day install on that, especially if you don't know what you're doing. It might take you a little while the first go around. Also, try and find somebody that's installed them before and have them help you out, because it will probably be a lot easier that way. So right off the bat, we're over 30 grand, but I can tell you this, I do not spend much more on the build itself. So let's get into all that. Also, I know for a fact I'm going to miss some things, but I will try my best to cover as much as possible. The other things that you cannot see are all the wires inside the walls. I spent about $300 on just wiring the van to all my lights, all the products that need power, water pump, refrigerator, all my AC outlets, all the DC outlets, which are the USB ports. You might be able to see one. That's not, you can't see it, but it's there. Literally everything that needs power in my van, it needs to have a wire going from where that location is, or the switch, back to the solar kit. All the connectors, I estimated about 50 bucks from Home Depot. You got butt splice connectors, and you just kind of wire them up. And then you even need a crimping tool. The crimping tool, I spent a little bit of money on it. I spent 20 bucks on it, but it was a really nice crimping tool. I believe Tiny Watt Solar sends you one when you do buy their kits though. The other thing you cannot see is the wool insulation. Again, their prices do fluctuate, and you have to pay for shipping. It's roughly, for every 2 bags, it's roughly 50, 60 bucks throughout the United States. Love, love, love my wool insulation. I believe I used 2 bags of wool insulation, but I didn't use any insulation on the floor. Between 120 and 160 per bag. I got 2 of them, like I said. Over the wheel well water tank, I'm almost positive the price of the tank has gone up since I bought it, but when I bought it, it was $225. I think it's $250 now. It's a 22 gallon over the wheel well water tank. Love this thing. I don't know what else to say about it. That's made by Northwest Conversions. Tyler, I believe his name is. He's coming up with new products either the end of 2019 or the beginning of 2020, but shoot him an email. His website should be up and running. All the plywood for the frame, I just used a 1/2 inch kind of whatever plywood. It wasn't that big a deal. You're not going to see it. One sheet, I cut them into 2-inch strips, I believe, and that was 35 bucks. PEX tubing. This is everything you can't see, just to reiterate. All the PEX tubing for all the plumbing, going from the freshwater tank into my sink, up into the shower, for the gray water going down, all of those PEX tubing and connectors. I actually estimated it, I wrote here 100, but I can guarantee you it's more like 200, but I wrote down 100. I have no idea why I did that, but that was pretty stupid. PEX tubing and all the connectors are not cheap, but I estimated around 100 bucks. Man, that's probably wrong. The gray water tank, the tank itself was 30. I was very fortunate to again have friends. Tank holder is actually made out of aluminum, built and designed because he wanted to test it to see if it would work. by Off Grid Solutions. That was my buddy Jason. I was up in Portland for that. He's actually, I think, making these now for the 2019 Sprinters because they fit freaking perfectly. On that tank has an electronic ball valve wired up to my console, and I can dump it anytime I want. So it holds it inside the 7-gallon tank, and anytime I want to dump it, I can just hit the button. I don't have to get underneath the van. It is a game changer. The last thing on my list here is Rattle Trap or anything like that. It's I forget there's other companies out there, but it's like a sound deadener. I only did one, and I spent I might have done two, because I think I did one, because they're $60 a piece, I believe, 55. Mostly because the Sprinter vans already have rattle trap in most places, and I have 2 large windows that I need to put the rattle trap in. Also, guys, that reminds me, most of the links are going to be below in the description. I hope to put them all down there. It's going to be a lot of work on my end, but I would like to do it for you guys. I'm trying to do rapid fire here so I can get through everything. I have 3 pages of notes like this. True story. The faucet that I bought, I love this thing, was $180. My sink was $64. Sink drain, I even wrote that down, $20. The shower I'll go into, but it's a temporary situation. I'm waiting for the box of my recirculating shower to be designed and built, and then I'm gonna go back up to Portland, get that installed. So right now I only have the Van Life Tech shower pan that's in, but when you order the recirculating shower, hopefully in early 2020, I'm hoping by February of 2020, it's a shower pan and it's a little box that will hook up everything, and I believe it has to be installed by one of his affiliate upfitters, just like his radiant floor heating. Again, it's gonna be worth every dollar. And if I had to guess, I think his estimate for the shower, the recirc shower, his system is gonna be around $2,000. He spent a solid year on research and development. He also spent about 2 years on research and development on the floor. So everything that he has designed, he's very particular about, and he's a perfectionist. That's why it has taken as long as it has. There's other DIYers that have done recirc showers. There's other DIYers that have done the radiant floor heating. I can promise you they're not nearly as efficient and beautiful as Van Life Tech's. You can do what you want. I'm just telling you that is what I've seen and what I know. The power consumption on the floor, by the way, at a steady state is 30 watts. That's ridiculous. That's super, super, super low. So the shower's just temporary, but 20 bucks for the head, 40 bucks for the valve. The hose was 30 bucks. You know, I just kind of threw it in there just so I could have an operating shower until I get the recirc shower in. Hopefully going to be priced right around 2,000, at most 2,500, but I believe it's going to be 2,000, which, believe it or not, is actually inexpensive for a recirculating shower with only using 1.5 gallons of water. Keep all that in mind. Also on-demand hot water with Troy's system. Water pump was $65, with C-Flow, pretty much mostly what everybody has. Water accumulator was $30. I'm also gonna mention, you know, having things in my van that I need on a regular basis, like my Instapot. I cook with that. It's part of my van, I feel like, and that's $75. My induction cooktop, it's a portable induction cooktop. That was $90. This is all pretty much kitchen and bathroom accessories. That's why I'm kind of going over all of that stuff. And then the biggest expense of all of those things is my refrigerator, and my refrigerator was $1,200. Isotherm, and it's the Clean 85 model. Isotherm has various different sizes, various different prices. I felt that that one was the best for me to fit in my space. 1,200 bucks. Worth every dollar. I also wanted a door. I didn't want a chest style. Lower price ones, if you wanted a door, Dometic makes a good door. Trucker fridges, you can like Google that. Some trucker fridge models, they make some pretty good ones. Most of them don't come with freezers. The Isotherm has a small freezer in it. If you want to do a chest style, if you're okay with having it underneath a bench or maybe on slide outs, get heavy duty slip draw slides. Dometic makes pretty good one. I think the best chest that I have seen is I believe it's called Winter, although it's not spelled like winter, but it's W-Y, I believe. It's probably one of the best ones on the market. I feel it has a separate freezer container. I've seen them in action. I don't physically have one, but I do like them. I also just didn't want the chest style. Although the chests are nice, by the way, if you are driving, like we drive these rolling earthquakes every single day, things tend not to move in a chest. In a door operating fridge, they tend to move. But I wanted that look. That's how I wanted it. I'm fancy. A lot of the hardware that's in here, we're kind of gonna go over. I called it living hardware, but it's just, you know, whatever. The draw slides, I have a whole bunch of them. They range between $15 and $20. I got them all off Amazon. I believe I have 6 of them. So I averaged that about $100. Draw poles, which I don't know if you can see, they're right there. I got a pack of 10 for $30 and I use exactly 10. The stick-on tile, which you see right here, it's a tic-tac tile I bought off of Amazon. It comes in a 10 pack. They're 12 by 12 sheets, $35, I believe. My little bedside light, which is like my nightstand when my bed is down. It's a 2-pack. I only used one, but it's a 2-pack, $36. The Murphy bed stop to keep my freaking bed from folding down. It's not called that. It's not called a Murphy bed stop. I don't know. I'll put the link in the description below, but it's made for security purposes if you try to kick down a door. That was $15, believe it or not. It was really cheap. Murphy bed hinge, it's not the typical Murphy bed hardware. If you're looking at Murphy bed hardware, it's around $300. I went with just a stainless steel heavy duty hinge, which was $60 off of Amazon. It's a 3-inch heavy duty. I went and looked for it on Amazon the other day. I couldn't find it. So you may have to go to somebody that fabricates stainless steel piano hinges. USB outlets, I bought them off Amazon, I believe $27. I bought 2 of them. Wall outlets, I estimated in total price $15 to $20. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So you need the outlet, you need the boxes, and you need the face plates. You have to buy them all separately at Home Depot. The under cabinet lights are $30. They're come in a 4-pack. I think they're great. They come in 2 different colors, pretty much black and white. Cabinet catchers, I believe that so my cabinet won't open if unless I bought a 4-pack, which are $15. I bought 2 of them, but I don't think that was even enough. But I bought 2 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. 8, yeah, I used exactly 8, so that worked. Didn't realize that. The roof vent, which you hear some titter-tats from the raindrops right now. I went with a Max Air, and that was $200. I did not get the remote control version of it. I just didn't feel like I needed it, and I've also realized that it was just another thing to break. The other major roof vent company is fantastic. I just like the Max Air just a little bit better. It's more sleek looking and it's pretty much rainproof the way that it does open. It doesn't open as much as the Fantastic, but it's really nice looking. The cabinet hinges, I bought an 8-pack for $20. What my table's sitting on right now, it's a Lagoon table leg. The table itself is custom, but I'll get into that later. The Lagoon table leg, I found mine for $185, but you have to do some research. Cannot get it off Amazon. I also just mounted a swivel seat, and I put a second mount for the Lagoon right by my swivel. I'll show a picture of that right now, and we'll do a video on that, by the way. The extra mount cost me, I think, 40 or 50 bucks. Fully love the Lagoon because you can move it throughout your van if you design it that way. The window covers, I have the 2 large window covers, and then I have my entire front cab for covers. I went through Explore Outfitters, and I'll put their link in the description below. I actually love them. I did a full video on them. I believe in total was about $900. They might have been $1,000. I actually don't remember it. I was trying to look for my invoice, and I couldn't find it. But if I remember correctly, it was about $900. That's pretty comparison to the other companies out there that sell their window covers. These are really well done. They're done with magnets. Other companies do the same method, but I really like his price point. I also liked his color options. I talked about 3 companies. I just liked their material that they used, and I just liked his whole thing, so I went with them. Like I just mentioned, the swivel seat, I bought it. I'm not gonna say the company because I'm about to do a video on that, and if you want to see that, just wait a little bit longer on why I'm not gonna say the company's name. But it was $500. I can't wait to do that video. Beautiful swivel seat, I will say that. And the flooring was from Lumber Liquidators. I honestly went with it because a couple different reasons. I love the color. It was 8mm thick, which is pretty damn thick, but it's a high traffic floor. I have such a small space. Obviously, I'm going to be walking back on a lot on this floor quite often. It's a vinyl, high traffic, 8mm thick floor. Also, the thicker the floor, the better my radiant heated floor treats it. Could have went with a 5mm thick or a 4mm thick floor. Total, my flooring was $180. It's just, keep in mind that your finished flooring is going to be roughly about that. The beautiful thing about it is the way that I did my floor, I can replace it at any point because I didn't run my finished floor throughout the entire van. I only put the finished floor where you can see it in the van. Let's see, my mattress was an 8-inch mattress. That was $200. Cushions were they're super soft. I actually bought a 4-inch mattress topper. I did not want to get the high density, although I'm kind of regretting that because it's so squishy. But I just bought a 4-inch memory foam topper, which was $80, and I cut it into pieces. I was very fortunate that my mother is a seamstress or has seamstress experience where she made my covers for my 2 cushions and my mattress. Thanks, Mom. Laundry bin. Guys, we have to do laundry. You know, we live in vans. We still have to do laundry. My laundry bin was $16. I got it specifically for my van layout because it fits exactly where I want it to go. And the trash bin, again, I wanted a nice looking trash can and I got it small. I got like an office size trash can, $30 for that. The ceiling is in a game of itself because of how much money I put into the damn ceiling. The lights themselves were $15. They're LED strip lights. And I got 10 of them, so that right there in itself is $150 freaking dollars. I have about 120 feet, so I really only needed 12, but I got a few extra for my screwing up moments, I guess. The wood are 1x4s, and they're cut and rabbited, and there's a whole video on how I made my ceiling. It's 1x4 poplar, which is sold. There's a dollar amount per linear foot. That usually fluctuates at Home Depot. I believe I got it for $1.09 per linear foot. I have a lot of feet in here. I think it's 65 feet of the poplar on my ceiling. I estimated about $80 worth of that. The aluminum coil stock, which is the white underneath, that was $85. Again, bought at Home Depot. 1/4-inch plywood, which is way up, which is above the aluminum coil stock. It's 3 sheets, and I bought just your regular, 1/4-inch plywood, $60, $20 per sheet. And then I got like 1.25 inch, I think they're pin screws. A box of them goes for like $8. The whole ceiling alone was like, what, $300 if I'm doing my math right on this? I don't even know. Maybe $250. Crazy. Just for a ceiling, just for a freaking pretty ceiling that gives me this nice lighting right now. Kind of rapid fire through the Home Depot stuff that I got. 3/4-inch plywood birch. That is pretty much all of the interior walls. Not like the wall like on the other side of this. Not on the outside walls. Those are 1/4-inch plywood. The wall that like is right behind me right here. That's a 3/4-inch birch. Underneath the cabinets on the other corner, that's 3/4-inch birch. My bed is 3/4-inch birch. My bench is 3/4-inch birch. But my entire the cabinetry is all made out of 3/4-inch birch. I believe I used 4 sheets, but I'm almost that might be closer to 5 sheets. Each sheet is $55, so it's between $220, $280, somewhere in that range, just on wood, on the plywood at least. And then on my back doors, you actually will see tongue and groove cedar paneling. The cedar paneling was a pack of 6. I believe I got 3 packs to cover that entire door. Plus there's a little bit up there on the roof where my bed comes down. They're $20 each. I bought 3 packs at $60. I use a tongue oil milk paint company, I believe. That was $38. I love that stuff, by the way. All the white paint, I wrote down $60. That's probably closer to $100. I'm going to also factor all this in at the end because I put miscellaneous, which I added. The stains that I used is $26. The polyurethane that I used was $26. 1/4-inch plywood in the walls. I used more than 2 sheets. I wrote down 2 sheets. Each sheet was $27. I think I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $27 there each. 1x2 poplar board. That's actually making up the cabinets. And now that I'm looking at it, the cabinets are also made out of 1/4-inch plywood, so at least 1 more sheet for all of that, if not 2 sheets, so maybe 7 sheets of 1/4-inch plywood, $27 a piece. The 1x2 is part of the shakers, or the fronts, I guess, of the cabinetry. We're about $60 on that. Counter right here was an unfurnished birch butcher block countertop from Home Depot. I bought 2 6-footers, were I think $180 to $190 each. $360 right there, just in freaking countertops. By the way, I'm going to be redoing this countertop. Not that I don't like it, I'm doing something cool in the future. The epoxy that I have for my shelves, it's epoxy resin mix, and you can dye it and things like that. I have it as my table as well that you might be able to see, as well as the shelves that I have here. I got a 12-liter from Ecopoxy, $300. And then to make this table, I had to buy walnut wood. I made a whole video about that. And then miscellaneous, I put down as like $1,000. So all of that being said, I know this number isn't 100% accurate. I estimated the entire van, again, with the radiant floor heating, with the amazing heating, the hot water, the ridiculous amounts of solar power, batteries. I didn't go over the top on the construction, but I estimated roughly around $43,000. A pretty close estimate. I might be a few $100s in either direction. Pretty much what this entire van cost me to do. You can do it for cheaper, like I said. There was a few things throughout the video that I talked about that you could do certain aspects cheap. You didn't have to do an expensive fridge like I did. You could have saved money there. You obviously can save money on your heater, your heating elements. But if you want to be really comfy and cozy and you're living in this full time, I would advise you to invest in things like heating. Advise you to invest in things like power. I am fully off grid. I don't need any sort of plugging in, although I do have shore power capability. I just realized I didn't even talk about my freaking windows that are in. I spent another $1,000 there on windows. Really? Windows. So that just went up to $44,000. So we're gonna say that it might be closer to 45K, which is what I've been telling people when they do ask me. I estimated around 45,000 is a pretty good estimate what this is, plus the cost of my van, which was another 45. So I'm sitting in a $90,000 piece of machinery. At the same time, I'm living in this thing full time. I love it very much. There was no labor calculated in this whatsoever. If I calculated labor, if I was to pay someone to do my entire build for me, I'm looking at probably another $30,000 to $40,000 in labor. And if you guys think I'm crazy, think about this. This took me roughly 4 to 6 months to do the entire build. If I was working full-time at a job in the construction field or van building world, I would need to have taken off 4 to 6 months worth of work just to build this van. Therefore, the 30,000 isn't astronomical for labor, because that is a half a year's salary for a lot of people out there. That is pretty in line for what labor does cost, guys. You want to put that out there because a lot of people are like, why are these van builders charging as much as they do? They're not easy, okay? And it does take, on a low end, it does take 8 weeks. If they want to be particular and do their job right, or if they have a team, maybe 12 weeks. If they're by themselves, it can take anywhere between 12 to 20 weeks. It could even, I've seen van builds take an entire year. Yeah, you can do a simple build for a lot less, or I've seen people do them in a month's time. I did my last one in 2 months. You can do these quickly, but again, you're gonna get what you pay for. You're gonna get what you put into it, right? So keep all that in mind. I hope this was good. This was a very long video. Again, go to my website. If you have any other questions, you can also email me through my website, but jarrodtocci.com. You can also subscribe to me on Reachable app. You can look at that link below. All that good jazz, guys. I am tired after talking to this camera straight for I don't know how long. I need more coffee. I'll see you guys later. Oh, my throat hurts.